Hello everyone, welcome back to Sims, and today I'm going to show you guys how to recolor CC clothes for The Sims 4. Yeah, recoloring clothes is fairly easy. It's really not that hard, and you only need a couple of programs to do it, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that today. So if you like this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Become a patron on Patreon, a member on YouTube, and let's get started. I will be doing more tutorials on how to make your own CC, like actually make the mesh. I will be doing those tutorials for Patreons only. So become a patron on Patreon once I drop these tutorials, and you will learn how to make your own CC. Yeah, that's right, your own CC, your own mesh. So the first program you will need is Sims 4 Studio. Now, I am not going to show you guys how to download Sims 4 Studio. I'll probably do that in another tutorial. Try to find a tutorial for you guys on how to download Sims 4 Studio, but it's not that hard. You just go to the website, which I will link below, and you just, download the zip and install it. But you will need Sims 4 Studio. Now, before we do this, we need to find a piece of CC that we want to recolor. So after you have Sims 4 Studio and you have downloaded the CC that you want to recolor, go to your file explorer and find the CC that you downloaded. Mine right here is a Naturopanic Tri-Top. Then you will go to Documents, find Sims 4 Studio, and then it will have a folder called Mods. That is where you will put the CC that you are going to recolor, because you need the mesh to recolor it. So you will drag the CC that you are trying to recolor and move it into the Sims 4 Studio mods folder. That is all you have to do. It's fairly easy. And then after you do that, now the mesh of the CC is in Sims 4 Studio. So once you do that, you will need to go to Sims 4 Studio and go to Create Cast Standalone. It will be there by default. And then press the big blue cast button right here. Where it says content right here, change it from all to custom. And then you will see the CC that is in your Sims 4 Studio mods folder. Click on the first swatch and then press next, and go to your mods folder and name it whatever you want to, and press save. Now this is Naturopanic's mesh. I will not do anything to the mesh. I am not editing the mesh at all. Yeah, I'm not doing anything to the mesh. We are only strictly touching the textures of the top. You know what I'm saying? Only the textures. So after you have it in Sims 4 Studio, you will press export. In the textures tab right here, just press export, the green button, and export the texture wherever you want to. And once you have the textures exported, we will now open it into GIMP. I now have Naturopanic's texture now opened in GIMP. So to recolor CC, it's fairly simple. All you would have to do is select the fuzzy select tool, which is the magic wand, and click on the checkerboard background. That is the transparent background of the texture that will not show up on the mesh. And then you will press Control I. And what Control I does, that inverts the selection to select whatever you did not have selected. And since we did not have the mesh selected, it is now selected because we inverted the selection, if that makes sense. All I'm trying to say is that now the mesh is selected. And then you will go up into the top left corner and go to Colors and press Colorize. Now this is Colorize right here. With Colorize, it lets you change the hue, saturation, and the lightness of the texture. And you can also click right here on color, and you can select the color that you want without having to go through all of this. But I like using these, like I'll probably click on color first, find the color that I want. Let's say I want this, press OK, and then I'll modify it with saturation and lightness to however I want. Now what you don't want the textures to look like this, because if your textures looks like this, it has no shadows, it has no official texture. You know what I'm saying? Let me show you. If you just got the paintbrush tool and you just painted over it like this, it has no shadows on it. And the shadows on the texture is what makes it look more realistic. You know what I'm saying? So you don't want to cover up those shadows. And if you need to undo, just press Ctrl Z. And if you need to redo, just press Ctrl Y. Yeah, so just go to the Colorize tool and colorize it however you want. I'll just keep that mint blue, it's pretty cute. And yeah, that is how you recolor CC if you just want to change the color. Now, if you want to add a logo or a design, I will also teach you guys how to do that right now. Now, in this particular texture, there is not a swatch without a logo on it or a design on it. All of the swatches have hide on it. So I can't necessarily, just add a logo. I would have to cover this one up. And if you're recoloring a piece of CC and there's not a swatch that doesn't have any logos on it, just do this. Now this is where you will go to the paintbrush tool and make it smaller and change the hardness in the forest down to like 25. And then go to the eyedropper tool or color picker tool and then click the area around the logo, so you can get that same color. Go back to the paintbrush tool, make sure the hardness in the forest is at 25 and the size is fairly small, and then color over the logo like this. And now it was never there. We colored over it, so now we can add our own logo or design. So yeah, once you're done with all that, if you didn't have a logo on in the first place, you can just skip that last step. But once we're finished with all that, we can now export this PNG and we can open it in paint.net so we can add the logo or design. You don't have to use paint.net, but it is preferred because, like I said, GIMP, when you resize something, it loses a tremendous amount of quality, and that is not desirable when coloring CC. So yeah, that's why I use paint.net. To export this texture as a PNG, you would just have to go to File, not Save As, because if you go to Save As, it will save the GIMP file. You will go to File, Export As, and then name it whatever you want to. After you name it, you have to make sure you put .png. You have to put .png. It can't be JPG or any other file name because Sims 4 Studio only allows PNGs. So name it whatever you want. Make sure it's a .png and press export. If this shows up, just press export. And there you go. Now it is in my documents folder or wherever you saved it at. And now let's open it in paint.net. So I now have the texture open in paint.net. I am going to find a design on Google that I want to add to this texture. Okay, so as you can see, I have a whole folder filled up with nothing but logos and designs for my CC. I'm also going to show you how to cut the background out of a logo so you can put it on the CC. So I use paint.net for this also. I used to use GIMP, but trust me, paint.net is better. I'm going to click on the Nike logo and I will go to open in paint.net, and it is now right here. All you would have to do is go to tools, click on the magic wand and select the white background and press delete. That's it. Now it's transparent. There's also still some white right here. So I will click that, press delete. It's gone. And yeah, that's how you make the logo transparent, because you can't always find transparent logos on Google. So you can just, do it yourself and stop being lazy. So after you've cut it out, you will go to File, Save As, and then save it as whatever you want to. Make sure, I prefer PNG, so I'm just going to switch it from JPEG to PNG, not a paint.net .pdn. Make sure it's a .png or a .jpeg. I prefer PNG. Just make sure it's an image file type, and then name it whatever you want to. I'm going to name this tutorial because I already have a Nike logo, and then just press save and press OK. And yeah, now I am out of the Nike window and I am in the window for our texture. I am going to go to File Explorer and I'm going to find our logo. This is the Nike logo right here. I'm going to drag the logo from File Explorer onto the top of the texture, and then this will show up, drag and drop. What would you like to do with this file? Just press add layer, and now the Nike logo is right here, as you can see. So yeah, you would just make sure you are on this tool right here, the move selected pixels, and move the Nike logo onto the top of the texture. So to zoom in paint.net, you would just press Control plus, and to zoom out, just Control minus, plus minus, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, and then I zoomed in some, and I'm going to drag the Nike logo back onto the top of the top texture, resize it the way I want to. So now if I scale this image down in GIMP, it would be so blurry, but that's why I said use paint.net, because you can resize it however much you want and it will lose little to none quality. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so now the Nike logo is on top of our top texture, and yeah, that is everything. We have recolored the top, and we have also added a logo and or design. This applies to, you know, any type of clothes CC that you are recoloring, whether it be a top, skirt, pants, long sleeve, hoodie. It all applies to that. Yeah, you can also do this with designs, whether it be like Mickey Mouse and you want to add Mickey Mouse. Just do this, you know what I'm saying? It's not that hard. And yeah, so now I'm going to show you how to get this texture into Sims 4 Studio and into your game. We will now save this texture as a PNG file so we can get it into Sims 4 Studio. So just go to File, Save As, and save it wherever you want to, and do not save it as a PDN, save it as a PNG, because Sims 4 Studio does not accept any other file type except for PNG. Yeah, and then press save, and then this window will show up, save configuration. Just press OK, and then it will say flatten. Just press flatten because you need to flatten it all into one layer so it will properly save. And now let's import this texture into Sims 4 Studio. So now we are back in Sims 4 Studio. So since this is a whole new package file, we would just delete all the other swatches and just keep one because we will overwrite this swatch. So to import the texture that we just made, you will press the blue import button and you will go to wherever you saved your texture from paint.net, find it and press open. So yeah, after you do that, it will now show up right here. This is our newly recolored texture. As you can see, we kept all the shadows that was originally there. You don't want to cover up these shadows and the little details that Nitro Panic has added, because like I said, the more details, the more realistic the top looks, and we want it to look as realistic as possible and as good as possible. This is a swatch thumbnail right here. You can change this. You want to change this to the color of the top or the color of the CC that you're making. So you would right click, you see where it's white right here? Right click it, and then you will get the eyedropper tool. You will move the eyedropper to your top and you will press your top, and now the swatch thumbnail is blue. Whenever you or someone is changing the color or the swatch of the shirt, the swatch thumbnail will show up as blue so they know the color of the swatch before they click on it. You know what I'm saying? But I also want to add black because there's a black Nike logo. So I would just go to the second square right here, right click it again, get the eyedropper tool, move it to the black Nike logo, and now the swatch thumbnail is blue and black. You can also add your own custom catalog thumbnail. I'm not going to show you guys how to do that today. I'll probably do another tutorial on that another time. But if you want to make your own custom thumbnail, just go to like GIMP, paint.net, Canva, wherever. Make a thumbnail that is 104 by 148 pixels, and you can then import it in Sims 4 Studio. Make sure it's a PNG. This is my test thumbnail whenever I'm testing out CC and I need to find it quickly in CAS. And yeah, so after you've done everything, you got all your thumbnails in order, just press save. And your package has been saved. You can always add more swatches by pressing this. You can always remove swatches by pressing this. So after you press save, you will go into Sims 4 and see if you've done everything right. I forgot to mention this, but in order for your recolor to show up in game, you have to have the original mesh in your game. So sorry I forgot to mention that, you guys. So yeah, make sure the original mesh is in your game and then your recolor will show up in game. Okay, so I have the mesh in my game and I have the new package that I created in the game. So I'm going to find the recolor that we did and see how it looks on this chick. Okay, so here is the recolor that we did. It looks okay. That is what I was going for. Okay. But I mean, you guys have a general idea. You can always do better than me. You have now been taught how to make your own recolors for The Sims 4. I will be doing more tutorials on how to make your own CC, like actually make the mesh. I will be doing those tutorials for Patreons only. So become a patron on Patreon once I drop these tutorials, and you will learn how to make your own CC. Yeah, that's right, your own CC, your own mesh. Yeah. So become a patron on Patreon. Make sure you become a member down below. Also, like, comment, and subscribe. Share with your friends. I don't know. And I love you all so much. Goodbye.